Hi, Dana Abercrombie, the Coalition. Thank you so much for speaking to us. My question is, I love that this was both an origin story of the characters that we've known, but also the land, especially with Pride Rock. Can you talk about extending that relationship with the animal kingdom and that land and kind of discovering any kind of probably nuances that wasn't originally shown in the Lion King original?
Yeah, that was one of the really great things about making a movie this way is you can create anything. It kind of reminded me of when I first got into film school, where a professor told me, if you can imagine what's in the frame, there's no reason you, from your background, from where you're from, can't utilize it as well as some kid from Beverly Hills, et cetera, and so forth. And I loved the idea of in this film using these virtual production tools that if we could think of it, we could create it essentially. And so once we knew that the movie was going to be this journey for Mufasa, sort of he gets taken away from his home and then he has to journey to what ultimately ends up becoming the Pride Lands. We saw it as a really great opportunity to sort of like create this sort of journey across not the entire continent of Africa, but to really be grounded and try to map out, okay, where did he start? Where did he get taken to? And then what land is he journeying through on his way to Malele or to Pride Rock? And then when he gets there, there's no reason that Pride Rock has to already exist. And so those things didn't exist when I first came onto the project. Working with my production designer from the Underground Railroad, of Bill Street Could Talk, Sky Mark Freeberg, he just came into my office one day, and the mountain was already there, and he showed me just like 5 images stepping through of how, in an earthquake, Pride Rock would form. And again, when you're making sort of like this prequel, you assume that everything always just was. And I love that this symbol, Pride Rock, sort of came out of this energy of the completion of this journey that Mufasa and Rafiki have to go on. So it was kind of like that, just playing around. And we actually mapped the whole journey out. Like I could put up a map and show you exactly what the characters are at any point in their journey. I could tell you how long it would take them in reality to actually walk the steps to get there. We try to be really thoughtful with all of it. The other thing that happened, Dana, was because we started during COVID, we thought, we had planned to go to the continent. And typically you do that on a film scout. You're in a helicopter for like 7 days and you're like, you're half a day here or half a day there. We couldn't do that because of the pandemic. So instead, we reached out to all these artists and conservationists in the areas we had already mapped out. And we stayed in touch with them for about 18 months. And they were sending us photos, videos. And the question was, what is the most interesting thing about your landscape or your environment that you would like the world to see? And that was how we started building all the landscapes, all the environment you see in the film.
Exceptional job. I truly felt like I was in the moment and right there and learning about the environment. So thank you so much.
You know what's cool? Taka, the name of the character who played that becomes Scar. When you go back to the '94 film, Mufasa translates in Swahili to king, and Taka, the most common translation, is garbage. Again, 1994 was a very simple time, but no parent is going to name their child garbage. So because we had mapped this region that the characters journey through, I reached out to some of the actors I'd worked with on the Underground Railroad, Tuso especially, and she reached out to her people, and we found out that I believe it was in Botswana. There's a saying, "Roto Takatui," which translates to the Holy Spirit. And so, in my mind, Obasi and Eshe named Taka after the spirit and not after garbage. So it was like little things like that, and we actually had a scene that we created that sort of, Taka has this dream. He wakes up and he sees his father speaking to him from the afterlife, and he tells him that story because Taka's trying to figure out why am I named this. But not everything makes it into the film. Not everything makes it into the film. But as Mahershala said about Moonlight, he and Janelle had all these scenes, just domestic scenes around the house that didn't make it to the final cut. He said it's not in the film, but it's in the performance. And I think Kelvin can perform Taka with his head held high, and Lenny James and Tandiwe can speak to him like a son because they know what his name means.
Exceptional. Thank you so much.